You're listening to Lockdown Leadership, a podcast exploring the tricky roads of the global pandemic. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Lockdown Leadership. My name is Zubair Adams, founder of lifestamp.co.uk, where we develop authentic leaders and happier organizations. In this episode, we're going to explore what are the first steps to get to grips with what is happening around the world. So the last few months have been crazy. Probably 2 or 3 months. I feel like everything we've kind of knew what reality was has been thrown out the window, and we're all in this new world that we're trying to figure out. So let's kind of do a recap, maybe like an emotional recap of where we've kind of been through and the journey we've explored. So initially, when this pandemic first happened, I remember seeing online and people were just like, it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. It's not as bad as MERS. It's not as bad as SARS. More people have died of Ebola. More people die of the flu. And that was literally the standard thing everyone was hearing. And anyone that's on Instagram or on Twitter has probably seen all of those posts being shared of people showing the stats, and it's like 1% death rate. And everyone's like, it's fine. We're going to get through this. It's not that big of a deal. And that's kind of how we all kind of started on. And then things obviously really, really changed. Straight after that, we realized, and it's kind of, we've been hit with like a triple whammy in the world right now. So we got hit with COVID-19, and then we realized it's spreading way worse than anything. And then we're still like, oh, it's fine. The death rate is really low. And then it went from 1% to 2% to 3%. It's on like 4% now. So it just kept getting worse. And then we had the whole oil crisis, which brought, I feel like, the oil price down to like 50% lower than it is. I think I saw a post, I think it was on Instagram, that basically showed you could get a barrel of oil for cheaper than a pint of beer, which is, that's just shown where we've gone. Obviously, it's the effect that had on the whole world is the whole oil price in the whole world went down. And then there's this whole conversation of us going into a recession, and it's going to be way worse than any other recession we had. The S&P 500, if you enter stocks, and the whole global market went down. And now, at this point, we're starting to realize, damn, things are probably a lot worse than we had thought. And that's kind of, and I feel like since then, we've kind of been stuck in that moment. And then what ended up happening, and this is natural, and this happens to all of us, we mentally actually got divided into two types of groups. And this is kind of what I wanted to speak about today, is these two kind of mental groups we form as humans. So the first group is an immediate fixer. And the second group is the waiter. Now, we're going to go through each one, and I'll explain to you what that is. You'll see which one you fit into, and then we can, we'll have a little discussion. It's a bit of a one-way discussion, but a discussion about it. So the first, the immediate fixer. The immediate fixer are the people that as soon as, all of these announcements and things really got crazy, were the ones were like, well, it's okay because, global warming is now going to slow down and CO2 emissions have gone down. So we're helping the world heal. And then we also had people saying, don't worry, we're going to get so much more free time now. You can start working out. You can work from home. You can spend more time with your family. You're probably going to get better at cooking. Oh, I've always wanted to work from home anyway. So this is great. And so this is the immediate fixer. As soon as something happens, you're like, yes, fine. I'm going to fix it. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Nothing wrong with that. And this mindset and this outlook is great. And it works a lot of the time. And, I feel like I'm one of these people, and I'm an immediate fixer. And I kind of go through that. But here's what actually happened. And every immediate fixer would probably relate to this. In fact, I saw a post from The Rock, who is one of these people that, sees the day and is one of these kind of people that I think is also an immediate fix. And he had the same conversation. And this is what happened for me. So when all of this went crazy, I was like, it's great. I'm working from home. All that means that I'll just change my routine. I'm going to wake up early. And then I'll try to wake up early. And I was just like, I just don't have the motivation right now to even wake up early. And then I'm like, it's okay. I just need to adjust. I need to spend a few days to kind of get to grips with what's going on. I just need to change my schedule. I need to add value to the world. Even this podcast, I was meant to do this podcast about 2 weeks ago. And even though I made all these plans, I still just couldn't find the motivation. It just wasn't working. It just wasn't hitting. And a lot of you guys can probably relate. You just feel uneasy. You're just like, I get it. I'm supposed to be doing this. And every day you're probably giving yourself a pep talk. And every day you're just trying to fix it. You're just trying to fix it, make things better. And it kind of works for a little while, maybe for a day or two. And then it kind of just stops or halts. And you just can't get, like, I can't really explain it, but anyone that's an immediate fixer will get it. You just can't get into the right frame of mind. And here's what I think is happening. And this is what I kind of had to sit down and reflect. When you're an immediate fixer, you're so focused on solving problems that you actually don't go through the natural process a human needs to go through. And one of them on this journey of acceptance is grieving. You have to just let yourself grieve. You don't want to get involved in the busyness, in the fixing, in the moving. You don't want to get so involved in that because you end up being like a hamster on a hamster wheel that you're moving. You think oh yeah, I'm doing stuff. But actually, what's the point if you're not fully there? You don't know the reason why you're doing it. You're still a bit confused. The motivation is not there. You are going to burn out, and you're going to burn out way, way faster than if we weren't in a pandemic. What we kind of need to be doing, and this is what I did. So, I did this for a few days and it just weren't hitting me. And then I was speaking to one of my colleagues, and she was like, you just need to chill out. You just need to let yourself actually let your body set in with the new reality you're in. And that really, really hit me. And so I took a day or two off, and it was a really sad day for me, to be honest. I just sat there, woke up late, lazy, in my pajamas, and I was just like, well, what is life right now? And I feel like that was a really important question. And it was an important question because I had to be like, well, things actually might not pick up. Things might not change. I might be in this state for ages. And then I really sat down. I spent a day or two really taking in what is actually happening in the world. Thousands of people are dying. Not an economy is going into recession. The whole world is going into recession. That's the reality. And automatically I'm like, I need to find a solution. So forget what it means. What am I going to do? No, stop that. Because before you even let yourself have that grieving moment, you're trying to find a solution, and you just won't be productive in the long run. So you got to sit down and let it seep in. So I started to sit down. I started to think about it. And I noticed in that grieving process, my emotions, to be honest, went really, really down. I kind of like hit a rock bottom. And it's actually only when I hit that rock bottom was when I was able to ask myself some really, really important questions. Questions that I didn't reflect on before. Things like, work is so bad right now that, potentially, and this is for a lot of companies, you might not get any work. There is a reality that you might go bankrupt. That's a reality. There's a reality that we might be in this situation for the next 6 months. The reality is, what if I can't pay rent? What if I can't pay my car payments? What if? And all of these things might happen. And that was like a bit of a sad reality of, all these years of work that I've potentially done, and what a lot of people have done. It's changed. That whole, at the start of 2020, there was a lot of people, especially millennials. We were like, 2020 is going to be our year. Well, guess what? It might not be. And that was something I had to sit with. Like, stop trying to fix it. Stop still trying to make it your year. It might not be your year. And an immediate fixer never ever reflects on that. They never sit down and be like, no, I'm going to make it my year. I will do whatever it takes. You're going to burn out. We're entering in a world that is so different from anything that anyone has ever known. So when you do say 2020 is your year, it might not be. And again, that's so important to actually just realize. Sometimes it's not going to go your way. And you can't keep running and keep going on your hamster wheel thinking you're going to make 2020 your year. If you feel like you could do that, you're probably giving yourself, or giving, I want to say too much credit, but too much, what's the right word? It's like when you kind of like responsibility, or you're giving yourself too much. I feel like it's a lot of pressure. I can't think of the right word right now, but there's just, you don't need to put yourself on that level, because you actually deny yourself so much. So when I went through that, I sat down for 2 days, and I went through all of these questions. I really hit rock bottom. And when I hit rock bottom and I actually started to grieve, then really useful and hard but true questions started to come out for me. And actually, after those 1 or 2 days, and I actually wrote those questions down, and then I went through a whole process of answering them, I was able to get back up again. And in the next episode, we're going to go through what these questions could look like for you. It's going to be different for everyone. And it's not a one-off fix, because I know immediate fixes are like, oh, so that's the solution? Okay, I'm going to go and do it, and I'm going to sit down, I'm going to force myself to grieve for exactly 48 hours, and these questions are going to come up. When they come up, I'm going to answer it, and then we're good to go back on my hamster wheel. It might not happen. It might take 1 day, it might take 2 days, it might take 3 days. Me personally, I went through it for a week, and then again today, I thought today's going to be a great day, and it wasn't. And that is a cycle that I've come to realize that's the cycle that we're going to be going through. So that was the first thing. So for the immediate fixes, you just have to stop, let it sink in, fit in with reality, and really, really, really take time off. If you're saying you're too busy and you can't take time off, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. Of course you can, because this is part of your busyness, is to go through this process. So that was the first type of people. And then the second type, and I've got a lot of friends actually that do this, they're the waiters. You're a waiter when you're like, I can't wait for this pandemic to finish. I can't wait till it's over. I can't wait to get back to the office. I can't wait back to my normal reality. I can't wait for life to go back to the way it was before. Newsflash, guess what? It might not. I've got friends that are like, yeah, so the pandemic's going to be over next month, right? And I'm like, how could you say it's going to be over next month? Okay, let's look at this scientifically and realistically. From the day we hit 0 cases, from that day, we have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks. If you're in England or if you're in Saudi Arabia, or, that's where I am right now, we haven't even reached 0, and it might take another month and a half to reach 0. And once we reach 0, then we have another 2 or 3 weeks to wait. So we're talking at least 2 months. And, now I'm hearing there's a new strain of COVID-19 called Novid-19. Please double check that. This is what I'm hearing. And then I'm also hearing there's no herd immunity. And some people are getting reinfected again back in China. If that's the case, it's going to go on for a lot longer than 2-3 months. And if you think it's not, you're in denial. And here's the issue that happens with the waiter. Now, the waiter, I guess they kind of do grieve a little bit, but they kind of pause life and they wait until their original world comes back. And it might not come back. Again, it's just the truth. I remember listening to Simon Sinek, and he's the author of Finding Your Why. He does a lot of workshops on this. And one really cool thing that really came out for me, he said, whether we like it or not, the people that are going to make it out of this pandemic are the ones that are going to be able to change and adapt. Waiters, if you are a waiter, you're not changing or adapting. You're waiting until you go back to your reality. And he compared it, and I compared it to taxis and Uber, or Blockbuster and Netflix, or Woolworths and Amazon. Woolworths is a UK store, if people don't that were hearing it that are not from the UK. They were expecting that they're not going to change and the world will change back to the way they were. What happened to them? They all got removed. They weren't able to cope with this new reality and this new world we're in. So if you're a waiter, I feel like you're in denial because the world is so different. So here's a few things that might actually happen. We might enter a new world where a large portion of our daily life is going to be virtual. Working from home, a lot of companies are starting to realize, actually, this is useful. Working from home might become a reality. That might be a world that we may enter. Intermingling with people might be kept to a minimum for a long period of time. Eating out at restaurants might not be something we'll get back into for a while. There's a lot of things. And so as a waiter, what you're actually doing is that you're putting your whole life on hold right now not learning, not growing, not changing, not allowing yourself to fully grieve, adapt, and grow, and you're waiting for that world to come back. And then you're just going to waste the next couple of months. And when the new world comes in, the new reality that we have, you're not going to accept it. You're not going to accept it. And you're going to find it really, really difficult. And so that's obviously not going to be cool or useful. So when I kind of summarize both of these two things in, they both kind of came to the same concept of us really letting things sink in and allowing our bodies to do the natural thing of grieving. And I promise you, when we get out of it, things are going to be great anyway. As a person, we're going to have changed. But it's only when we go through this process that we're going to really be able to change. There's a quote that I read from John Green, and it really summarized this whole episode for me. It was, grief does not change you. It reveals you. And for me, that was so strong. Especially with immediate fixes, you don't want that reality to be revealed. But this is the perfect time to get that revelation and to let yourself come through. And I promise you, by the end of it, you're going to come out really, really strong. And so that was basically the main thing that I wanted to come out from this was let things sink in, allow yourself to grieve, however long it takes, and you can do it as often as you need. Right now, this is the time that we're allowed to do that. Thank you very much. If you like this episode and you think this will be useful for someone else to hear, please do share it. You know, our main mission and vision here right now is to grow together in this lockdown, to enhance our leadership abilities within ourselves, within our families, within our work. And if you think anyone would find this useful, please do share it with them. My name is Zubair Adams. Thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay safe, keep growing. Peace out.